This woman called Riley has just got ready to leave the house to meet a friend. She talks to her friend on the phone and tells her she'll be there in 20 minutes. And as she gets into the car, she starts to feel dizzy, which she believes is because she ate a piece of pizza. But she decides to drive anyway. The next day, Carrie, Riley's sister, receives the news about the accident. And when she arrives at the hospital, she is informed by her parents that Riley is in surgery. The doctor says that during the surgery, Riley had complications, and as she lost a lot of blood, she ended up dying. The news brings despair to the whole family, who can't believe it happened. On the way out of the hospital, Carrie meets Detective Dylan, who tells her that the team is already looking for evidence. He also tells her about a witness he saw when Riley had the accident. Carrie demands to see the accident report, but Dylan says he can't do that for her. She insists, but he asks her to go home and rest, and any news he'll contact her. Carrie gives a lift to Riley's husband, Adam, who has no idea how he's going to talk about the event with his son Cody, but Carrie supports him, saying he'll be able to use the right words. Carrie goes to her parents' house to spend a few days there. Later, Carrie picks up a box from the wardrobe that has some photos of her and her sister, and she gets very emotional about losing her sister. The next day, Carrie goes to Adam's house and meets a woman called Lana, who identifies herself as the nanny. Carrie learns that Cody still doesn't know about his mother's death. When Adam shows up, Carrie asks when he's going to tell her about Riley's death, and Adam says it'll be that night, because Cody already knows something's wrong. Adam hands her a flash drive with some videos and photos of Riley so she can investigate. Outside Carrie's house, Adam asks if Carrie has gotten any information from Detective Dylan, but he says no, and that when she does, Adam will be the first one she calls. While Carrie is looking at the photos of her sister, she receives a message from Dylan with the report, but still no evidence. When the day of the funeral arrives, Adam makes a beautiful speech and says that Riley was a perfect wife, and he tells Cody that her mother loved him very much, because everything she did was for him. After the ceremony, some of Riley's friends pay their respects to Carrie, and the work of Riley and Adam was important to that town for what they did. Riley's friend Sarah shows up and says she wants to talk to Carrie in private, but at that moment Carrie hears an argument and goes outside to see Adam and a guy arguing, and after she asks who it is, Adam prefers not to talk. Carrie goes back to talk to Sarah, but she's not there anymore, and when Carrie asks her mother, she says she doesn't know any Sarah. The next day, Carrie goes to Adam's work and sees him arguing with a guy about something that can no longer be fixed. Carrie hands Adam the flash drive and takes the opportunity to ask him who the guy he was arguing with was. Carrie finds out that the guy's name is Johnny and that he's been out with Riley a few times, and Carrie remembers not believing that it's Johnny because he's already very different. She also mentions that at the time she was talking to Riley about the guy, and Adam tells her that Johnny doesn't have a job and lives in a trailer. Carrie calls her friend named Allison and asks her to look up more information about who Johnny is. Carrie goes to Riley's grave and finds her mom putting some girasoles. Carrie takes a bag of donuts and sits next to her mother, and she remembers the times that Carrie and Riley had fun in the summer. After Carrie says goodbye to her mother, she goes back to the house and receives a call from Allison, who says that Johnny has a history of breaking and entering and possessing a firearm. Allison sends Johnny's history to Carrie's email, and now she's suspicious that he may have some involvement in Riley's death. Allison advises Carrie to go to the police to get information that will really help. Carrie goes to the police station, and Dylan informs her that the forensics found no mechanical fault and that nothing in the car was altered. Carrie then asks Dylan to talk to Johnny to find out where he was the day Riley died. Dylan goes to the scene to talk to Johnny about Riley, but the guy tries to run off into the woods. But Dylan manages to catch up with him and handcuffs him. In the interrogation, Johnny says that he doesn't know what happened to Riley and only ran away because he panicked, and that he only saw her once before the tragedy. Johnny tells her that she sought him out because she was afraid someone would hurt her, so she sought Johnny out so he could get her a gun, because she knew about his background. Dyla tells Carrie what Johnny said, but she suspects he made up the story, and since Johnny has no charges, he will be released. Carrie tells her parents that Riley's death wasn't an accident, because she's suspicious of Johnny, but her parents believe that even though Johnny is troubled, he wouldn't be able to hurt Riley. Hours later, Carrie picks up some of Riley's belongings, and she finds a cord, which she puts around her neck, and also finds Riley's cell phone, and when she unlocks it, she finds Sarah's number. The next day, Carrie meets Sarah in a coffee shop. Sarah works for an insurance company that covers all of Adam's ventures. Sarah tells her that on the night Riley died, they were going to meet to talk, and that Riley reported that she was feeling dizzy, and even though she took this information to the police, they didn't do anything. When Carrie is leaving, she meets Adam there and asks him if Riley was feeling ill that day. but he says no and that if she had been feeling, though she would have told him. The next day, Carrie goes to the police station to ask Dylan to do another examination on Riley's body to see if they can find any kind of poison, as she is suspicious that her sister has been poisoned. As she is leaving, Johnny calls her without identifying her and warns her that someone is following her and that she will be the next victim. When Carrie wants to know more information, Johnny hangs up on her. Then Carrie finds herself outside the hotel where her friend Allison is staying, but Carrie interrupts the conversation because she needs to pick up Cody before her parents get home. Carrie decides to have a chat with her mother and that she finds it very strange that Lana has been hired as a babysitter after Riley's death. But her mother believes that there's nothing to worry about. Carrie informs her mother that she's going out for a run, but in fact she takes the key to Riley's house and decides to go there to investigate. Carrie goes to her sister's room and finds Riley and Adam's upturned picture frame, and near the bed she finds pills and a piece of paper with Lana's name on it. But at that moment she hears a noise, and when she goes to leave, she realizes that it's Lana who's coming home, and quickly Carrie hides. Carrie tells Dylan about Adam having a relationship with Lana, that she's posing as a nanny and that she believes it's evidence, but he denies that it's evidence and scolds Carrie, saying that she's not a detective and that if he helps her anymore he could end up being fired. Then Carrie calls Allison, and Allison says that Carrie needs to go to the hotel because she needs to show Carrie something and that she can only see it in person. When Allison is washing her hands, she hears a noise and thinks it's the hotel service. Allison finds the wardrobe door open and this makes her suspicious, but when she opens it she finds no one, and at that moment when Allison approaches the window, a man appears behind her and tries to suffocate her. Moments later Carrie arrives at the hotel, and when she knocks on the door and realizes that Allison isn't answering, she goes to the window and finds her friend lying on the floor and asks them to call 911. After the police arrive, Carrie talks to Dylan about whether he still believes that Riley's death was an accident, but he insists that this event with Allison is very common to occur. Besides, the criminal took Allison's wallet and phone. Carrie goes to a bar to be alone, and there she finds a document saying that her father sent $5 million to Adam. When Carrie goes to ask her father about it, he informs her that Adam was in need of money and that the money was for Riley and Adam, and then Carrie apologizes to her father. When Carrie gets home she calls one of the partners in Adam's company called Todd to find out about the company's finances, and he tells her if she wants to know to go and look it up on the ESA report website. After receiving a call from Dylan asking her to go to the police station, Carrie is informed that cyanide was found in Riley's test, and that she was probably poisoned slowly over time. Carrie assumes that someone poisoned Riley's food, and she remembers that the night Adam ordered pizza for dinner, and Carrie imagines that that night the dose for Riley was increased, because he knew she was going out after dinner. Carrie goes to visit Allison in the hospital and she thanks him for saving her life, because when the criminal heard her coming he left. So Carrie promises all son that they will find who attacked her. Then Carrie goes to a company and says she wants an ESA report. The woman says she can't take it public, but after a few attempts, Carrie manages to convince the woman to hand over the report, and promises that no one will know that she was helped, and is surprised to see that the company has contamination and that all the investment was useless. Then Carrie meets Adam, who wants to talk to her in private. The two go for a drive in Adam's car, and he asks a few questions that make Carrie even more suspicious of him. In the evening when Johnny arrives at his trailer, he finds Adam, who was there to make Johnny suspicious, because after he throws Riley's wallet, Adam shoots Johnny. The next day Dylan calls Carrie to say that he's found the evidence that incriminates Johnny, but Carrie is sure that Johnny isn't the culprit and that she's going to take action. So she goes to Riley's house to talk to Lana, and after discovering that Adam has been cheating on Riley for a year, Carrie tells Lana that since her sister died, Adam will get $5 million and it was he who planned Riley's death. Moments after Adam arrives home, Lana tells him that Carrie went to her to tell her about the good amount of money he's going to receive and also about him having planned Riley's death. But she says she didn't believe Carrie's words. But at that moment when she talks about the cyanide she found, Adam realizes that Riley is in cahoots with Carrie, and when Lana goes to run away, he tries to hold her back, but Carrie hits him with an object and the two decide to go upstairs to hide. And when he finds Lana, he says he was disappointed with what she did, and when he threatens to kill her, Carrie shows up and rends him with a knife, and the police arrive to arrest him. Now that Adam is in jail for committing crimes against Riley, Allison, and Johnny, Carrie will need to stay with Cody, because the boy not only has no mother, but is also without a father. Dylan thanks Carrie and apologizes to her, admitting that he was wrong and she is proud to have done a great job as a detective. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like and leave a comment or suggestion. Thanks for watching.